What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy, Jeremy Worm. And over the past couple of years, we've been having instances of Bob Iger himself coming out and saying that Disney's going to be stepping out of politics. Disney needs to stay out of politics. This particular one comes from November 3rd, 2022, outright saying, hey, we're going to stay out of politics. We're going to be staying out of the culture war. They then again reiterated it back in September 2023. Disney to quiet down the noise in the culture war amid Ron DeSantis' feud with Bob Iger. All this has been spurred on due to Bob Iger and, Bob Iger, Bob Chapek, and all Disney going against the Ron DeSantis' Florida bill, the parental rights in education bill. Well, recently, we actually had a new clip surface of just how deep it goes. Because the reality is, every aspect of this, from Disney taking political stands, from Disney starting to enforce their social justice, their identity politic narratives, critical race theory, critical gender theory, women theory, but modern day feminism, intersectional feminism, all these ideals within their content, them taking a stand on political bases. You come over here to a brand new thing put out by Christopher Russo. Disney CEO Bob Iger admits to turning the company into his own political weapon. I take responsibility for this. He outright said this, and I want to be very clear when I get to the actual clip, because the clip comes shortly after January 6th. Now, I'm not here to talk about January 6th. I'm not here to talk about what went down on that day or take any position on that, because that's not the important part about this. The important point about all of this is the fact that Bob Iger himself is admitting that they took up the political position on his own watch, on his own admission, that he is the one that turned the company into a political tool, into a political ramming device. And I got multiple angles to show you that none of this is ever going to stop. Disney is never going to stop being political. Disney is never going to stop doing this. And it was all brought on by Bob Iger himself. But this is the latest one, okay? This comes shortly after the particular incident that went down. In January 2021, then Disney chairman Bob Iger told employees he was committing the company to taking a stand on politics because of January 6th, then praised himself for making Black Panther, which he said was an example of diversity and inclusion. Yeah. A film filled with a bunch of about an ethno-state filled with a particular race of individuals, all just completely filled with that. But again, it's an ethno-state. That's a good example of diversity, guys. Remember that.
Well, I mean, Bob has talked about this eloquently since he's become CEO. I'll say a couple of things about it. You know, we've tended to shy away from politics. And in doing so, I think we've shied away from talking about issues that aren't political at all, like the
issues that aren't political at all. Like the
issues that we're talking about today, because we believe in doing so. Maybe it looks like we're taking a stand. Well, in that reality, we should be taking a stand.
We should be taking a stand, guys. We should be taking a stand. This is all Bob Iger's words himself. He outright says that they need to start taking more political stands because they need to start doing this by his own merit.
By the way, I take responsibility for this. I was CEO for 15 years. And so I managed the company's public-facing processes and how we were portraying ourselves. And I think that we have to be less cautious, as Bob, I think, was just alluding to, about such things and not be concerned. Like just commenting about what happened in Washington last week, that's not political on our part at all. We know that what we saw was fundamentally wrong and that it was rooted in hatred and disrespect and contempt and intolerance. And we should.
So we should be talking about politics. We should be discussing politics. We should be discussing political points. This is actually kind of disgusting on his point. I don't want my media out. I don't want my entertainment outlets. I don't want my Star Trek, for example. Star Trek actually did this within Brave New Worlds and everything like that. They outright took the January 6th event and put it into their show, saying that this was the example of when everything went wrong and when the world fell apart. I don't need that. I don't need that in my entertainment. I go to entertainment to be for escapism. I go to entertainment to step away from the real world. But this is Bob Iger saying, no, we should be talking about this. We should be putting this in all of our content. We should be having the company take a stand on these different political points and these different political moments. No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't. I don't care if it's left or right. You shouldn't be talking either way about politics, but he's outright admitting that he is pushing it. He has been pushing it. He helped push it for 15 years. He's been wanting to do this, and now he's assisting and actually doing it.
Feel free as a company to comment about that without retribution. And another thing I want to say that I've learned these last 9 to 12 months is, I'm very proud of a lot of the work we've done in terms of diversity and inclusion on screen. When we did CoCo.
By the way, when he's starting to say diversity inclusion on screen, that's him admitting that diversity inclusion is a political point. That's him admitting that diversity and inclusion is 100% political. Him talking about CoCo, which I've never viewed as a political movie. I just really like that movie. I thought it was a good movie. It was a fundamentally fun movie. Yeah, he's saying that was all done by diversity and inclusion. Again, a movie about an entire family from south of the border. Not very diverse, but hey, that's what he views.
For instance, at Pixar, a great example of that, or Tiana, or of course, Black Panther is one of the great examples of that. I allowed those things to make me feel a bit complacent in a sense. It's not that I wanted to be that way, but I thought, wow, we did Black Panther. How great are we? And it caused me to not focus as much as I should have on the culture of the company and the environment and in the voices that were telling those stories as opposed to just how they were being portrayed on the screen.
Yeah. That's him saying that we need to get more political. That's him saying we need to keep getting more political. We need to keep getting more political. And I'm going to help do this. I'm going to help champion this. But this isn't the only example of this. This isn't the only moment of this. This is just the more recent moment of it, of him coming out and saying it after January 6th. But we've had other instances. The moment he came back to the board, back to being CEO of the actual Disney company itself, he did a whole town hall in which he akined himself essentially to Martin Luther King Jr. and how great and wonderful he is as a social rights activist and everything like that. But we'll take a look at his own words.
All right, another virtual question. What is your stance on the don't say gay situation?
Yeah, I think this might be a little loud, so let me turn that down a tad. Okay, go back.
Well, first of all, our LGBTQ employees are very important to us, and we care deeply about them. That is a given. Secondly, this company has been telling stories for 100 years, and those stories have had a meaningful, positive impact on the world. And one of the reasons they've had a meaningful, positive impact is because one of the core values of our storytelling is inclusion and acceptance and tolerance. And we can't lose that. We just can't lose that. I think about Black Panther and the impact that had on the world, or a film like CoCo. I mean, I could go on, and how we actually changed the world for the good.
For the good, in my opinion. This all comes again shortly after he just said in that past clip that he solely views this as political. He's always viewed this all as political. Diversity, inclusion, all this stuff is political. He is not going to step away from being political. He's going to keep going full forward on political, and this is all at Bob Iger's own hands. But again, he keeps saying, hey, we're going to quit being political. We're going to quiet down the noise. We're going to step out of politics. He's been saying this over and over and over again, but from a quote tweet from Rosary Warrior John F. Trent. Oh, shout out to John F. Trent, by the way. There's a better example of all this because Disney has been doing this time and time again. This is a clip from 2019, by the way, in which Bob Iger himself said that they were going to get political. This is still going on. This is still something that's constantly been going on by his own hands. He's the one that's getting political. He's the one that's been pushing this all. It is Bob.
The abortion bill in Georgia.
Okay, the abortion bill in Georgia from 2019. In case you guys can't hear it, it's a little low.
How do you feel about that, and is Disney going to keep producing there?
Well, I think if it becomes law, it'll be very difficult to produce, or I rather doubt we will. I don't think I think many people who work for us will not want to work there, and we'll have to heed their wishes in that regard. Right now, we're watching it very carefully. I guess there's some speculation it could be enacted sometime after the first of the year. I think it's also likely to be challenged in the courts, and that could delay it. And we're being careful and cautious about it. But if it becomes law, I don't see how it's practical for us to continue to shoot there.
Again, all of this proves that Bob Iger himself has been pushing the politics, has been taking stances politically in the company as far back as 2019. How much further? He's been in charge of the company again for 15 years. He's been the public face of it. We need to start taking positions. We need to start taking political positions. This is all Bob Iger's doing. Bob Iger made the company political. Bob Iger is pushing the politics. He ain't going to stop anytime soon, no matter how much he says, we need to quiet down the noise. We need to stop getting into politics. We need to stay out of it. Bob Iger's the one that got them into politics. Bob Iger's going to continue pushing the politics. But I'm going to leave it there, guys. Let me get your guys' thoughts on all this down in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it out with friends, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell for every time I put out a new video and go live. And I'll see you all on the next one. Bye for now.